Welcome to The Human Element, presented by Whisk. I'm your host, Barb Biden, and in each episode, I sit down with CHROs and senior HR leaders to explore how AI, innovation, and human insight are reshaping the future of HR. We'll explore how technology is reshaping leadership, strategy, and the role of HR by sharing candid stories, practical ideas, and strategic perspectives to help you shape the future. The Human Element is brought to you by Whisk, the leader in agentic HR and creator of Harper, the world's first AI HR generalist. Learn how Harper can resolve up to 80% of routine HR tasks autonomously. Learn more about Whisk at whisk.com. Welcome to The Human Element, presented by Whisk, where we explore how AI and human insight are reshaping leadership and the future of HR. Our guest today, Dana Rutland, is Chief Human Resources Officer at Right at Home, a senior home care franchise company. Dana leads people strategy, talent, culture, and HR operations across a franchise network, with prior leadership roles at Enpro, Stemco LP, and Alcatel-Lucent. I'm super excited to speak with you today, Dana. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Barb. Appreciate it. Excited to be here.
Awesome. I love your unique background, a little bit different business that you are working in than some of my prior guests. So I'd love to hear more about the business that you work in and what makes your HR model unique, especially across a franchise network.
Sure. It's unique to me too. My background is, as you said, telecom and engineering and manufacturing. And so as I moved into home care, healthcare, this industry, it was, of course, a steep learning curve. But the structure was also different than what I was used to. So we have our franchises set up with corporate services, and which is, the typical HR, finance. We have corporate services for our offices across our franchise. And I have a team that is HR, recruiting, talent, and we're structured both in the US and offshore as well. So part of our team is offshore in Mexico and Venezuela. And so it provides a rich opportunity for our team to get to know different cultures, different perspectives, different experience levels. And so it is a rich opportunity for us in that aspect, but also because we're growing and we're on the every day it comes with a lot of questions, but we're knowing more and more answers. And so that's exciting for my team as well.
Very much so. What is one challenge that you are focused on today that you think AI could really help your team with?
So we are focused on one thing that I think a lot of people are focused on is just eliminating non-value add activities. I am a firm believer that human is the first word in human resources for a reason. I want to keep it that way. But at the same time, I want my team to be focused on the things that we can do as people and as leaders, not the non-value add things. I feel like anything that needs speed and scalability, let's give that to AI. What I want my team to be focused on and what I think they're really good at and bring the value is looking at performance coaching, working with leaders, not the first few points of recruiting, but the final decision on recruiting, conflict management, things that really take the nuance of human beings that AI just can't do. But I do want all of my team to be equipped with AI and the knowledge on AI so that we can do things that we do faster and we don't have to be bothered with reports, pulling reports, putting together reports. Yes, I want us to look at reports, at dashboards, all of that to make decisions. But the things that anything that AI can do, I'm a huge fan of putting to the robotic pieces of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's only going to make more time, as you've said, for our teams to do that more value add work. How are you thinking about where to begin? Do you have any early pilots or experiments that you've done with your team that are showing any sort of promise?
Yes, and I can't take credit for all the things that are happening with my team because when I arrived here, they were already using, I would say, an AI bot. I guess that's what they're still called, but for early stages of recruiting. And we have more than one person has come into the office and said, I cannot wait to meet Olivia. There's a couple of different names, but I cannot wait to meet Olivia. She's one of the big reasons I wanted to join this company. And there is no Olivia. That's our bot. And so we had to explain that to them, and they were just surprised because not only are they bots nuanced to be relatable, that has vastly improved in the past year even. But they are a part of our team in that they exude the culture that we have, the warmth that we want to a point. Right. They can't make decisions past that, but they can help us with looking at resumes, looking at skill set against our job descriptions. Um, and we've had a couple of hiccups, right? I mean, a human being wouldn't ask someone to drive 2 hours for an interview when we had an office 20 minutes from where that person lived. But that's what happened, and it
Mhm.
still happens occasionally, and so we really are it's more about us learning how to manage AI in the best way so that it helps us. We have, an informal kinda competition between friendly competition that's fun to say, "How many prompts do you have to put in to get exactly what you want?" Kinda like the Wordle game. I got it in only 2, right, where somebody else may say, "Oh, it took me 5 prompts to get exactly what I wanted." Well, that's okay because we're getting better and better at managing AI, but also incorporating it into exactly what we wanna do to get things done in the right way and in a faster way.
I love it. It sounds like your team is really through fun competition, right? Helping each other to learn, and also what a compliment that someone thought Olivia was a human member of your team, and Olivia probably was the first non-human member of your team, is my guess. So that's
Mhm.
a recruiting use case. Was Olivia helping you with scheduling, or have you operationalized AI in any other way with compliance, um, or maybe you can share a little bit more about what Olivia was helping your team do on the recruiting side in her interaction with candidates.
Yeah, so she was helping to do initial schedules for interviews, and which was a big help because that takes a lot of time. But what we're moving forward with now with the systems that we have are really piecing together because another thing that takes time, not only from my team, but the operations team is piecing what we really want to do is put together caregivers with clients that are a great match. And you know that it's just like a mentor-mentee program. It
Hmm.
only works well if that chemistry's there, if there's a great personality match, if there's a learning and a back and forth, an easy back and forth with people. And that's exactly and that's exactly what we face with caregivers and clients is we want to match our clients. We want to give them the best care that we can with the skill set that matches their needs. And so what we're looking at moving forward to is and there are several competitors out there, but looking to use that so that our case managers, care managers are not spending a ton of their day going through all of the skill sets, all of the resumes, all of our incumbents to see who has that special skill set. We are looking to put that to AI so that and it may not be perfect, and we know that, but even if we could narrow it down from 30 people to 3 or 5 for our case managers to look at and say, "That is the person. That's exactly the person. I might not have even thought of them, or they may be on shift, so they're not on my mind, but let's see what we can do," along with matching the skill set of caregiver and client, but also, okay, this caregiver is on a shift those days that the client wants. Let's see what we can do AI wise to make that happen. And so that's really what we're wanting to do is free up all of our employees' time, not just the HR team, but I really want it for my team for sure, but not just them. We want our people, our employees, human employees, focus on the things that they can do, not anything that's non-value add or needs. speed and scalability that can easily be taken off of their plate so that they can focus on our clients. They can focus on projects and initiatives that we want to do because our eye is on growing and really being available for more clients. If you see any of the reports, statistics, the need for care at home at whatever level is growing. And I don't see that taking a backseat to anything else.
No, I mean, it's such a high volume recruiting process, I would imagine, right? In a high
Yes.
growth industry. How do you get through all of that volume while screening and still make sure that you are making that great match, right? And getting empathetic caregivers who are a great match for the client, but also managing like all of those scheduling nuances too that you're talking about, right? This is the perfect person, but the schedule doesn't fit. How does AI hop in and kind of get all of those puzzle pieces to work together so that you can make it work? It's a very big problem that it sounds like AI is starting to have a really big impact on for you already. Are there any, I think I'm thinking of the high volume nature of your business, the distributed nature. Are there any data signals that you are looking at, things like attendance patterns, maybe the scheduling preferences or data too, right? The thing we were just talking about, feedback or incident reports, things that you are using AI to look at those signals in the data to predict turnover risk or burnout or anything like that. How are you thinking about some of those issues?
Yes, we are using Power BI, Power Automate to look at dashboards of all of our statistics so that we can really focus on not just the gap so that we can shore up, but really what's going well that we can capitalize on. So we do that constantly. Every team does that every week. We're looking at statistics, and turnover is a big one for me, not just me personally, but my team, because it that's needless churn, right? And it's expensive to have turnover in your business, but not only is it expensive, we don't want any gaps for our clients. I don't want, and nobody here wants there to be any instance where we cannot fulfill a need for a client. And so we are looking at other ways. And I know every right at home franchise is looking at ways to make it a rich customer experience. I'm sorry, employee experience. Well, that too, customer experience, but a rich employee experience so that we can focus on recruiting well, training well, and making it a great culture that people want to be in and can thrive in. So that's really what I and my team are focused on doing. I don't, it's a case manager care manager job is it can be super overwhelming, and I've walked into offices before and just seen someone in tears because they cared so much. They weren't able to find a caregiver for a client. They care about this client so much. They knew they needed the care. I don't want to see that ever. I don't want anyone to be overwhelmed. And if we can take that, they're trying to move on, make these chess moves so that they can piece together on not every day, but I don't want any day for our care managers to have to piece it together. I would love to have at their fingertips way AI assisting them so that it's an easy, okay, we've had this curveball. Because how many days a year do you have a curveball drop in? I feel like it's almost every day
Daily,
that yeah,
daily.
yes, of some sort. And so I wanna make it easy for people. We all do, our CEO, all our C-suite. We wanna make it easy for our employees to handle those curveballs because I don't want people to be burned out. I want them to leave you hear the phrase, you need to leave as good as you walked in the door, but we want them to leave better than they walked in the door. I want them to be energized and I want them to have learned some things. And AI can be overwhelming, right? It can be intimidating for some people, scary even, whether they're worried about it taking their job or they just don't they know that they could use it for their job, they just don't know how. And there are a lot of options out there. And my encouragement to people is just try one, just pick one and start going. There's so many any like micro learning opportunities But just getting in and playing around with it, that's really how I tripped into it and learned in the first place. And, to be able to drop in an idea that you have, or even some notes that you have around a particular topic, to say, I have this idea. I have I have this overarching idea. I have a few details that I know I want in it, but I know I'm not thinking of everything. Give me a training plan around that, or give me a change management plan around this problem that I have. The first time I used it, I have no idea how many prompts I had to give it. It was quite a few, but I learned over time. And every single time I used AI, I learned something new, and I learned how to get better at it, to utilize it. And it blew my mind. And so I was kind of evangelizing to people, don't be scared of this. And I know some IT leaders can be kind of hesitant to use it for IP protection, data protection, and you do have to give your employees guardrails around that, safety nets, so that they can have a sandbox to play in a safe way. But it's been a game changer for me and for my team.
I can't imagine. I mean, and you did such a great job storytelling about the case manager, right? And the way that AI can really change their job, right? So you were very empathetic and you were telling of the story, but it's like I think of that case manager as like the person out there empathetically providing care, right, to patients, and the fact that they just can't possibly get to all of the things and or see all of the data points that they would need to see to make all the best decisions all the time,
Right.
or schedule the most right people. And you can just really see that coming together with what you're talking about, right? That if the high volume, more operational tasks where speed is a factor, or where what we're doing is consuming data and just kind of decomplicating a problem, how much that would free that case manager up so that their empathy is applied to the patient, and that they're not, in tears, right? Because they can't be everything to all people. And I mean, that's sort of feels like a very real story of how AI can help at work, right? And a reason to not be afraid of it, right? That person's job, that case manager's job, is going to be better as a result. It's not going to go away. The patients still need them. The patients still need the caregivers. So, with your franchise owners, Dana, what is the playbook that you're using to help encourage and build AI literacy within the franchises, or within the caregivers too, right? Like we talked about the case manager who, now has some things happening around them to make their life easier. How are you helping to make sure that they're becoming AI literate as you do that work?
So it so I feel like I'm in a race with my CEO because he loves it as much as I do, and I'm so grateful for that because I have worked with leaders in the past that were just really hesitant to use it for good reasons. And so we are still using it now in our sandbox at the leadership level, with plans to, and anybody can use it at any time. We're not prohibiting anybody from using it, but as far as formally teaching people how to use it, we haven't gotten there yet. We have an app that all of our employees use, and we do training. We kind of use our app as an intranet right now. Everything that because everybody has a phone, but everybody may not have a laptop at their house, desktop at their house. So we use that app for a lot. And so bit by bit, we are trying to teach them in a really palatable way. This is what we're moving toward. Our handbook is online. Training, a lot of our training is online. Training that's moving, that is still traditionally or historically has been done in person. We're doing that. We're moving to doing that virtually. We're really just trying to make it kind of walking into the ocean on the beach one step at a time for them, because I don't want it to be overwhelming. Nobody wants it to be overwhelming for them. We want it to really be convenient, and we want them to be having fun with it, not just it while they're learning, right? Because you can approach learning from a lot of different ways. And so we are just taking it step by step. But as far as formal training, we don't have that yet for our employees. As I go around, and our CEOs does this too, we go around to different field offices that we have, and so I'll show them what as we're having conversations, I'll say, "Oh, and let me show you what I learned on how to do that," or it's more than not, we'll have conversations around, "I want to do these three things, but I have no time in my day," and I love to say, "Well, what are you thinking about doing?" And as they're talking, I'm typing it in, and I tell them that because I don't want to think I'm not listening to them. I'll drop it in and say, "This is the idea we have. These are the things we've thought through. What else are we not thinking about?" And boom, and there, it's so fun to see people discover that for the first time and say, "Here you go." I mean, it's a good first start. Like, this is a good square one, and then we can put our own nuances on it. I try to always do it in a way so that they don't feel like it's a substitute for them, because their instincts, their intuition, their knowledge and experience is valuable. That's what I try to plug in and let AI do the work that they don't have time to do. They can come up with ideas all day long and have the fantastic ideas. The more fantastic the ideas you have, or the more ideas you generate, the less time, I mean, the more overwhelmed you're going to feel about getting to put training together for that, or even a presentation slide deck. And so I'm just trying to take those things. I'm trying to make that not be a barrier to moving forward and innovating. The work behind the idea shouldn't be the limiting factor.
100%. And I can see your delight actually when you talk about that, right? It's the things you don't have the time to get done when you can take something that would have otherwise just sat on your little, notepad probably as an idea for too long. When you can take it from a kernel of an idea into something more usable quickly so that it comes to life instead of, sitting on your long list of to-dos, that is magic. Even, I can't believe it took us so far in the episode to even really get into the field nature of your workforce. The fact that they're not behind computers, right? And that they've got phones, and that's another uniqueness that you've got to think about. But I would imagine that there are things that AI is going to help your leaders be able to do from their phones that they would have had to either not even wouldn't have been in the decision set to do, or they would have had to ask someone back at an office to do, right? Like, for example, being in a spreadsheet, right? You're probably not going to do that on your phone, but if you can ask a data oriented question to AI and get an answer from your phone, that changes the capabilities of that field workforce big time, which is really, really cool. I'm sure you're excited about where that might head in the future. I mean, you're scratching the surface, but I mean, I'm starting to imagine like the things that those folks out in like doing home care or case managers that might be like coordinating groups of healthcare workers as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited out of my shoes about some things that I still haven't, even though I'm using AI, I still haven't had a chance to get down my list of things, but I know it will happen, and that's the big difference. I don't feel overwhelmed by it. I feel it's been able to take the overwhelm and convert it into energy for me. One of the people that has been really influential for me is Jacqueline Tangora. She was functioning as our CIO, and I was talking with her, I said, "Jackie, I want to do this so badly, this project, but I just don't have time." And she said, "Can I offer a suggestion?" I said, "Please do." She said, "Sometimes I'll go for a walk and I'll turn on the, the AI tool she uses, and I just say, 'I need you to listen to me for the next 5 minutes.'" And she said, "I go for a walk, I turn on the microphone, and I just start talking. And by the time I get back home, it's done." I said, "That's all of the convincing I needed. That's all I need to hear." And it took hours of work down to minutes. I don't know a better sales pitch than that. And so she's really adventurous. I would recommend anybody to look her up. She's really adventurous in approaching new tools and really utilizing them to get the best out of the people that we work with. And so she was really, and I told her, I said, "You've been such an inspiration for me because it wouldn't have been my go-to. I would have gotten there eventually, but now it's more of a not an option to thinking for myself, but really thinking through ideas and seeing what I want help with and in the ways that I want help with, and it's just been a game changer."
That tip is one that I've offered people as well. I'm a verbal processor. I don't think it relates only to verbal processors. I think senior leaders who just have a lot of ideas like swimming around in their brains, right? To just hit record, talk, and use the AI to synthesize your thoughts, right? And I mean, you could go for a walk, get some exercise in, do
Yeah.
basically a brain dump, and come back with fully organized thoughts and a clearer head. I mean, I that sounds like what you're describing there, and I do that all the time. I recommend it to coaching clients
Yes.
and other colleagues. I think it's that is a no-brainer, easy way to use AI if you've never even touched AI before. You cannot go wrong with that because you just hit record and start recording, and then
Yes.
say, "Tell me what I just said," and it sounds so much better than what you just. It gives you back something so much better than what you just shared with it. I think, for me, anyways. So
Mhm.
I could talk all day,
Mhm.
Dana. This was great and such a unique perspective. I'm going to move us on to the ending portion of the episode. A few kind of quick hit lightning round questions. What is one misconception HR leaders have about AI adoption?
That their teams are going away or that their jobs are going away, believe that they're scared. I think that not just HR, but I think that they've been told that for companies that consider it a back office function or still the personnel function, that their jobs are going away. It's absolutely not. It's going to free them up to do a better, more strategic focused job than they ever had before.
Agreed. What is one metric that you trust most in judging an AI pilot's success?
That I trust the most. Turnover. I will say this, I don't trust it for reasons for the turnover because it's only as good as it's just like anything else. It's only as good as what you put in, and that's only as good as what it gives you. But time to fill, time to offer, those things that are easily put to the robot, I trust that. And I look at it for red flags, put it in a dashboard, make sure that you're focusing your time where you're gonna get the richest return. And that's not just the red flags, it's really what is working well in this territory that's not working well over here. How do we match those things up? And so we can use AI for the differences in the metrics there to help us to give us an early first square one plan, at least.
All right. And my last question, this is a little segment we call keep one and drop the rest as part of our lightning round. So if you had to choose between consolidating your HR tech stack to a single platform or going with a best of breed AI bot, which would you pick and why?
Oh, I don't think best breed AI right at this point could replace a whole tech stack that's an integrated system, integrated systemic footprint that you have. But I think it's getting there. But today I would still choose the tech stack.
Maybe with a best of breed AI bot on top, possibly. Something
Yes,
like
for
that. Yeah.
sure. Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, totally. And I think
I
and
wouldn't
it's true though,
abandon
right?
AI. No
No,
way.
no, and I think it'll be interesting, like what that AI tech or the HR tech stack, sorry, looks like in the future, right?
Yes.
The days of, needing to learn your HRIS and like get in there and find all of the things and so forth, I think are numbered. And we'll still have the repository of information, but how we find it, I think, is going to be so much easier and
Yeah.
more accessible for folks. So
And
looking
next
forward to that.
November, I might have a different answer for you.
Okay. We'll check in for sure. So many good nuggets there, Dana. I tried to get it down to a couple of key points that I thought you made. And you said something right as we started, that human is the first word in human resources for a reason, and that you want to keep it that way. And that what you are wanting to do is just get rid of the non-value add tasks so that you can keep the human and human resources, which is something I think we're hearing in various forms from a lot of the guests that we've had on the show. I also captured sort of how you are really taking highly complex problems that are multifaceted, like the scheduling problem, right? Where it actually, as you were talking, felt like building blocks that you were trying, or almost like Tetris that you were trying to figure out. And that may not be everybody's first thought of a place to go with AI, but it sounds like you've done that and decomplicated that problem in a way that has allowed you to do some really great things, which I thought was cool. And although you didn't specifically say it starts at the top, when I heard you talking about your CEO and how your CEO is giving you a run for your money on like their enthusiasm towards AI, and talking about your team competing in a friendly way around like writing the best prompts and that sort of thing, my takeaway there is it sounds like you are making AI really accessible, really helping people to not worry about trying it, and that sponsorship does obviously come from the top, from you and your CEO. So those are a few of my takeaways. I'm sure the guests will capture a lot more than that. And we always have our guests close out. So I will close out with one last question with what is one piece of advice that you would give to HR leaders who may just be starting out on their AI journey?
Stay curious. Stay curious, stay open, and give safe if you're at all hesitant, just establish some safe guidelines for yourself and your team, but please stay curious because it is a game changer for you and your team. And if you want to take hours that you don't have and consolidate that down into minutes with a great product, AI is the best bet that you have right now. So
I
I would
agree
just
fully.
staying curious is it's easy to say, and it's simple but not easy to do. So
Mhm.
that would be my
Yeah,
biggest.
and we're all learning, right? I think sometimes people feel like there's a long ways to go, right? To know what they hear other people know when they hear people that are knowledgeable talking about it, but we're all just learning, so stay curious. What a great way to end. Thank you so much for coming and talking to me today, Dana. It was really great to speak with you.
Thanks, Barb. I enjoyed it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us on The Human Element, presented by Whisk. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow The Human Element wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Barb Biden. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.